Hey, what's up, fam? Look here, this is Dr. T coming in live for five. I was just thinking about this whole concept again, building beyond the breaking point, as we wrote the book, Reclaiming Your Territory. And we have an event that's coming up in just a couple of weeks here, actually, a week and a half in Detroit, Michigan on 15 October. We're going to be in Detroit and we're going to be doing a Reclaiming Your Territory event from the book. So the thing I wanted to just hit on is managing loss, depression, and anxiety is so different for many people, especially because many folks are not talking about the challenges that they experience. And in many cases, we feel like if we're dealing with loss, depression, anxiety, that we should be over it or it should not be an issue anymore. And when you look at our world, the world's systems and the way things are happening in the media, currently there's one event and then there's something else that happens, then something else that happens. It gives you this superficial response that I should be okay because something else is worse or something else has happened. The truth is many people are dealing with depression on a regular basis and have struggling to navigate it because no one's really talking about it or saying, hey, I'm depressed or this is my struggle or I'm still dealing with the loss of this or the other. In many cases, depression has been demonized. And so people feel like I can't even talk about the fact that I'm sad because there was a major loss in my life. It is normal to have sadness when there is a major loss. It is normal to have what we call brain fog, where you can't really get your ideals and you forget stuff, and it's like really difficult to keep moving. These are things that we have to start normalizing to help people to feel better about getting the assistance or talking about it. Anxiety is something else that many people have, especially in the minority cultures. I've experienced a lot of folks with anxiety simply because there's this expectation to be or to do something in order to prevent something from happening. And if you've had a negative experience, sometimes you can go through a loss and you become hyper vigilant to make sure you don't experience that loss again. I've seen a lot of people who've come from abusive relationships, especially when there's been like a sexual abuse. Then people have anxiety about letting their kids go places, or anxiety about releasing control. And so these are some of the things that, again, we don't talk about, but they all stem from loss, even traumatizing events. And I know there is sometimes discussion about the difference between trauma and grief. But one of the things that I like to just keep it very simplified is trauma is the event that happens, although it can traumatize you, and then you may need to process through that trauma. But the grief is a part of the process that helps us to walk through the trauma, or should I say, grieving is the process that helps us to walk through that trauma. In other words, you're going to deal with avoidance, denial, shock. Those are phases that person will go through when there's been a traumatic event or a loss. And then you're going to also have to work through the depression. There's going to be times where you're sad or disappointed about the things that are no longer the way they used to be. Sometimes it's going to be anger, mad that it happened. God, why did you let this happen? And some people say, well, you can't get mad at God, but I always say that God is big enough to handle your anger. The thing that you don't want to continue to happen is that that anger seeps out at people who are important to you or you're in a relationship with, and then those relationships are damaged simply because you've chosen to let that anger seep out. Anger is not a bad thing. It's just making sure that it's managed in its proper context. And I'll even say that with depression. Depression, in the sense of I've lost something, is not a bad thing. It's just signaling you may need to slow down and allow your brain, your body, and your mind to process what was actually lost. And then eventually you get to this place called acceptance where things are feeling a little bit better and you start to build on the new normal, or as we say, build beyond your breaking point. Whatever you may have lost, whatever you may be struggling with, if you know someone who can use this information, like, share, forward it, because you too can build beyond the breaking point. Again, as a reminder, we'll be in Detroit on the 15th of October, and we'll be having a Reclaiming Your Territory Building Beyond the Breaking Point event. I'll be also signing books there. Again, this is Dr. T coming in live for 5. Hope to see you there. God bless you, and we'll be talking again.